the war on terror and getting Osama bin Laden was a waste of time and money? Why do
How many of the victimless crime charges out there do you think you would issue pardons for?
Clarify your statements. Do you think that the war on terror and getting Osama bin Laden was a waste of time and money?
I never said that. I never said anything like it. I think we misspent our money. I think the effort was decent, and I voted for it. I think they blew it because they didn't know how to spend the money. They should spend the money, they should have the effort, but they need to understand why terrorism occurs and what the problem is. But to go and sacrifice 5,000 more Americans, spend $1 trillion, expand the war, fight a war in Iraq, which had nothing to do with 9/11, that doesn't make any sense to me. So that's my argument, is not to get to people who caused the trouble on 9/11. It's just the way they went about and how much money they wasted.
Would you have authorized that mission?
Which mission?
Would you have authorized the mission to kill bin Laden?
Well, I voted for it. I voted to authorize the mission to go get him. But my beef is that it took 10 years and they missed the target. They've been avoiding the target. They didn't keep their eye on the target. They went and did other things. So yes, that mission was authorized to go after him. But I think we don't know. You know, people want to criticize. I said, could have been done differently. Absolutely, it could have been done differently. But how can I go into detail when every day the details of the mission changes, you know, exactly how it happened, when it happened, what happened. So that's a different, no, it could have been done differently and I think smoother.
Well, so today, I mean, were you suggesting hiring essentially private contractors to go after?
Well, that is what the letter of marque and reprisal does. It introduces the notion that you try to mimic what Ross Perot did when he had to go get his hostages out of Iraq. He took it upon himself. But you could reward somebody like a Ross Perot to accomplish a mission like that and pay him good. You know, big bucks would have been peanuts compared to what we spent and all the lives we lost. Because if you understand the foreign policy, occupying Arab Muslim nations and killing innocent people doesn't make us more secure. It just makes more people hating us. So that's what I strongly object to. It means if we continue this way, it means that we don't understand it enough to start, changing the whole atmosphere. So, and besides, we're now, determined that we spend all our effort, money, and time killing Taliban. Well, the Taliban's trying to kill us over there, but they're not the Al Qaeda. They're people who we supported when they were trying to get rid of the Soviets. Those are the people who say we don't want foreigners occupying our land. All Americans should understand that. You know, people resent that kind of thing, and if we don't understand that, we're not going to solve the problems that we have.
So, how do you feel? Obviously, big crowd today, big announcement.
I feel pretty good, and I've said in there that the enthusiasm and the momentum and how the message is spreading is way beyond my expectations. And it's so different. The atmosphere is so different in the last 4 years. And that doesn't mean only with this campaign that I'm running, but with what's happening in the country. You know, in the interim, we've had a Tea Party movement. We've had a change in the Congress. I mean, there are big things going on. And American people are sick and tired of it, and I think that I'm very much involved in this determination to have a change in government, a change in policy, certainly on change of the Federal Reserve. I mean, that to me is so delightful because the Federal Reserve itself is a culprit in this. They are the ones that facilitate all this spending, and they wreck the economy. Then they bail out the rich people. That's what I was saying.
What do you think of the health care plan that Mitt Romney had to defend the other day in his speech in Michigan? That he says, I'm now going to back and stand by what I did in Massachusetts.
Well, I'm not going to speak for him or to it. I try very hard to be very consistent and open, and I'm not called a flip-flopper. And he has to answer to the questions and whether or not he has changed his tune. So. I can't really, address that directly.
Do you think he has?
I haven't paid enough attention. I've spent enough time just answering my own questions, let alone analyzing everything that he has said. I knew that, and I did look at that editorial on the Wall Street Journal, which I think is a significant event. So he probably has a lot of explaining to do, but I haven't listened to all his explanation.
And can you just also clarify on the president's specific mission that went in to get Osama bin Laden? What do you think of that?
I think it could be done differently. And, we...
How?
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with recognizing when you go into a sovereign nation that you talk to them. They're supposed to be our allies. We give them a lot of money. They've helped us before. They helped us capture Sheikh Mohammed. He was the mastermind of 9/11. He's in prison. They helped us capture the other individual involved with the first bombing of the towers. And a bunch of them have been captured, brought here, tried, and put in prison for life or executed. I don't know what's wrong with that. I mean, if it would have been, what we do is we build more enemies, and of course they're resenting this fact. But I don't know why we can't talk to them. If for somehow an individual like that was in Toronto, you think we'd have sent in helicopters? No, we wouldn't have done that. So it's sort of an affront. And since they've helped us in the past to capture some very dangerous people and turn them over, I just don't see the reason that we have to flaunt our power outrageously like that. We, for every benefit we get, we probably get twice as many disadvantages, and I don't like building disadvantages and more enemies.
Do you think they should have killed bin Laden?
I don't know the circumstances. You can't figure it out from the reports. One day they were in a firefight, the next day they weren't. So, no, I think under the circumstances, I think it was unnecessary to do it that way. There could have been an alternative, but you can't fully dissect it because the explanation of what they did is not exactly a record made. It will probably change tomorrow.
How many of the victimless crime charges out there do you think you would issue pardons for?
I apologize. We have to step over to the slide hit right now.
On a federal level, there's a lot of people who have never committed a crime and are totally nonviolent. And to clutter up our prisons and spend all that money doesn't make much sense to me because I want to get rid of the federal war on drugs.
Why New Hampshire for your announcement?
It's an important state.
Oh, sorry.
Hello there.
How are you doing today, sir?
I think I signed your.
Yes, you
Your
did.
sign.
Thank you very much.
Glad you made it here.
All right, good. I'm going to be working on it.
This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by
Samers.farm.com. Samers.farm.com.